We had to move because that truck came by.
That's right.
It's a bug. I'm surprised you didn't get scared.
A little
Spider.
spidey. Ew, babe. You made it hit my nail.
Here
Okay. There we
we go.
go.
13 jumped up.
Let's see what you guys are doing. We're about to start again, y'all. Look at them beautiful babies sitting over there. Hey, ladies. Y'all ready? Y'all gonna come back close to me? All right, y'all. Come on. I love it. Look. Everybody having such a good time meeting everybody. I love it. Since there's traffic, you guys, it's going to be beneficial to come closer anyway, so that way they can get through. All right? So let these guys come past, and then I want everybody to come up closer. All right, all right, all right. There we go. I love it. Thank you, guys. Gals. All right, y'all ready? I want to make sure we give attention for our next speaker who could not be with us today. And I've been honored to share his story. And it's not often that you will hear a man express his experience with child sex abuse. It's normally something we typically identify with women or young girls, but there are also young boys and men who have been impacted by this. So you guys may not have heard this, but I want y'all to come to the front. If you're not sitting down in the back and you're standing, come up to the front, please. That way we don't disrupt traffic when they come by and people don't have to cut us off in the front. There we go. All right, y'all. I'm like, we're used to this. We know how this works. Come on now. We got some transferable skills from the group. You know, let's just call it out. There we go. I love it. Oh, our crowd is growing too. Awesome. Well, our next, like I said, guest could not be here with us today, but I'm honored to share his story. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and read it for him. I hope he's watching, and we miss you, and we love you.
Is he watching?
All right, so many of you know me as XJWMJ on YouTube. So if you guys aren't already following his page, you want to do so. We actually did a session called Sip and Shades, and we had a good time doing our show. But he is deeply saddened that he couldn't be here in person to stand alongside of all of you for this powerful and courageous movement. But even though he's not physically present, his heart is with each of you here today and the thousands, hopefully millions, who are watching on screen. What we've been through is anything but easy. It's painful. He was born and raised as a Jehovah's Witness, baptized at 16 and married at 20. Some may think he's up here or having me give his speech because he left this organization a long time ago. But the truth is, he left in March of last year. He's 33 years old. That's 30 years of dedication with participation for being a ministerial servant. Coming to talk to you guys is a big step, and it goes to show that what I am saying, I believe in with all my heart. I didn't need to wait and see if what I truly believed in was right or wrong, because what I believe in is love. God is love. This is what makes us human. Anything that violates that love should be questioned. He was kicked out for that because he wanted to be like Jesus, someone who ate with sinners, someone who fed the homeless, clothed the poor, and healed the sick. The elders didn't like that. They were mad with him because he didn't agree with disfellowshipping and shunning. So he lost his community, his marriage was out the window, and his body was in a car. So yes, he lived in his car. He was beaten, rejected, spat on, and pushed around. He felt both ashamed and frustrated to have ever been called a Jehovah's Witness, a religious institution that claimed to be loving, one he would have laid down his life for. All of you here have also been treated the same way, shunned by your friends and family who are being held captive by that organization. We are shunned because we demonstrate true love.
No, it was.
Some of us are accused of apostasy, even if it means bringing something to light, which means we lose everything and everyone we love unless we play dumb. It's what I like to call emotional blackmail. And for that, he stands sympathetically deep in your pain. His wife, his 3 children, and himself are walking this path, lonely towards freedom. But there's more. Many of you have come here to share something far more painful, your stories of abuse by members of this religion. Those offenders were often in positions of power within the congregation, and tragically, many of you were just children when this happened. I want you to know that I am fighting for you. I am fighting for your children, and I am fighting for Jehovah's Witness members as well who don't know any better. When I was 12 years old, a ministerial servant took advantage of me. The abuse continued until I was 13. It's rare to hear a man speak about being sexually abused, but it happened more often than people think. It happened to me, and it caused so much trauma in my life. I couldn't eat, couldn't shower, couldn't even bear to look at myself in the mirror. I would sit frozen in the corner of the bathroom, ashamed and scared. That's where I felt safe, because I could be alone with my thoughts and alone with my pain. The man who abused me made me feel small and powerless. He belittled me and made me fear the consequences of speaking up, more so that his father was an elder. So I thought, if his son, a man guided by Holy Spirit, is doing this to me, surely his father couldn't be any better. Maybe even dismiss this just because they think I'm lying. Sure enough, when I finally found the courage to tell his father, they almost swept it under the rug because I didn't have any witnesses. There we go with that 2 or 3, right? Eventually the truth did come to light, and a token of justice was served. You will know what I mean by that in just a minute. But by then the damage was done. As a man, you're expected to be strong, be a leader, but in those moments I felt weak. I felt like a bystander in my own life. This trauma leaves scars that never heal. Victims face emotional and psychological damage, and while members are elusive, the stories of pain, isolation, and suicide are all too real. The so-called judicial process forces victims to confront their abusers and interrogated by male members who dismiss their suffering. There's no transparency, no justice. That's why so many leave this organization feeling abandoned, grappling with their mental health, even committing suicide. I know this all too well. I too faced depression. I was physically and verbally abused by an elder who continued to give talks while the elder knew about it, and another brother beat me for having a beard, just a few months shy of them changing this policy and allowing beards. I'll pause. Men were not allowed to allow their natural facial hair to grow out. They had to be given permission for a God-given creation process when even Jesus wore a beard. This abuse instilled fear in me, affecting my social life, my marriage, and ultimately I had to obey. Because I refused, this led to shunning. I lost my friends, family, and at one point I had to sleep in my car. This drove me to attempt suicide, leaving me with bruises, a seizure, and scars that remind me of my fear every time I look in the mirror. But you know what? I don't fear anymore. Heck, I don't have a YouTube. I have a YouTube and I show my face. What else can they take from me? They should be that should be your mentality, excuse me. They will tell you that you won't be happy. Listen, I remarried. I have a 9-month-old baby at home. I was told, a 9-month baby that I was told is an enemy of God. Y'all remember that? That man said, babies are enemies of God. Can you believe they said that? A baby. Okay. He said, but I've been blessed in more ways than none. I have a community right in front of me. I'm watching you on screen right now. Woo! MJ! And there is many of you. We may have lost what we call family, but what we have now is far better. I want to end this with something you all should know. The suffering that we go through is global, but the world is starting to wake up. In 2016, the Australian Royal Commission exposed over 1,800 allegations of child sex abuse within the Jehovah's Witnesses congregation, involving more than 1,000 predators. I just want y'all to pause. 1,800 cases of child sex abuse involving 1,000 predators. Do you guys know that Jehovah's Witnesses don't mandatorily report pedophiles? So while they're out here standing at those carts, knocking on your doors, that your children, your community is at danger, while they're driving the school buses, working in school as school aides, your children are in danger. I want y'all, the community that's here around, to let that sink in if you have kids. Shockingly, 11% of them were elders or ministerial servants. 11%. Those meant to protect the flock. Not one case was reported to the police within that organization. So 1,800 and not one was reported. Some were settled within the congregation, and that's what I call a token of justice. A tiny fraction served with no real fairness or true resolution. And that was just in Australia 8 years ago. Imagine the numbers now. Globally, Jehovah's Witnesses have always handled these crimes internally, using twisted biblical interpretations like the two-witness rule to protect abusers. But finally, governments are starting to act. Some countries have already shut down this organization. We are here today because we need more to do so. The United States needs to stop the shunning, to push for human rights, to mandate the reporting of sex offenders, and to end the abuse that's going on for too long. We are here to break the silence. We are here to expose this evil. And here we are standing outside of the White House. We send a message that we will not stop until we are heard. Don't be afraid to believe in something. Don't be ashamed for leaving your religion. Always remember, although we teach you that you are one person that left and you are being misled, think about it this way. Think about it for change. Out of 8 million Jehovah's Witnesses, it's actually a blessing that you are the only person who left. Always remember that. That makes you incredibly special because it makes you smarter than them. I now know what it means to be strong, and I now know that I am not alone, and I fear no longer. You're here today because you too are strong. You too aren't alone, and you too fear no longer. I'm already a leader in this fight. You're already leaders in this fight. Let's show the world what true strength and true leadership looks like. This is XJWMJ. Thank you for listening. Take care, stay safe, and remember, you can't make any of this up. Shun No More 2024. Let's do this.
Shun no more 2024.
Shun no more. 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 Shun no more.
I love it. I love it. I think we all here know what a ministerial servant is. It's a free, voluntary, unpaid position. And again, when it comes to voluntary service, it's unfortunate that you can't choose to not be a volunteer anymore because they will persecute you and kick you out. I wanted to share some identifiers of occults because outside of the reasoning book, which is an in-house book for Jehovah's Witnesses, they did not really share the true facts. So one of the things that you want to look out for is their level of control of their members' lives, what they can wear, who they have relationships with, right? As mentioned earlier by our guest speaker, Carla, the us versus them mentality. You have to see the organization as superior to the outside world. We know what that's like, right? They say that they're the special chosen people by God. They bear his name, that it's a people chosen for God's name. You also want to be mindful of apocalyptic thinking. Well, we know Armageddon is very near. It's the last of the final end of the days, of the day. You also want to look at severe consequences for leaving, which we all know here today that there are severe consequences. No family, no friends, no children. It doesn't matter who they are to you. They will leave you behind. The financial exploitation. Let's talk about that because this is a worldwide organization who has billions of dollars, but yet they offer no community service. Did y'all know that? That Jehovah's Witnesses have billions of dollars and they don't have any soup kitchens, no pantries, no clothing drives, no food vouchers, no gas vouchers. Your roof could collapse, and unless they can get your insurance money to fix it with free labor, maybe you should move into a place where it has a roof. Also, leaders who claim they have special insights, right? The governing body, which is board members of a nonprofit. If you look up what it actually is, that's all it is. They think that they're special. They're the only ones who are getting these messages from God. They have put themselves on a pedestal above not just us, but the rest of the world and any other religious organization. They think they are the one. But recently, what did they say? They're not the only channel. Can you tell me what the other channels are? I mean, maybe I want to participate in another channel. They change at will. Control, we talked about that. And it being a closed group. Although there may be outside followers, there is an inner circle where the followers will do so without question. And some of those followers are our family and our friends. Family and friends. So we're here, and we may be here alone, meaning separate from our family and friends, for the rest of our existence here in this lifetime. We all woke up predominantly on our own, and I know it's hard to contain all those truths you're learning, and you just kind of want to give them to everybody. Oh my gosh, you get information, we all get information. But that's too much for them, so please be gracious to them. Allow them to see through your actions, through your healing process, through your calmness, through your reasoning and thought ability, that you are not crazy, you still love them, and you wish them well, right? Because that's their human right to choose to stay in, right? That's what we're fighting for, is human rights. So even though we don't like how it happened or what's going on, we still respect their right to choose. We also need to look out for organized thought reform programming for new members, referred to by most organizations definitively as brainwashing. That was a shocker to me, to really look into the research as to what brainwashing is, right? We're not talking about waterboarding people or hanging them up by chains and whipping them. We're not talking about the brainwashing we see on TV and espionage movies. We're talking about true reprogramming, constant barrage of information to alter your thought patterns, to alter what you feel is acceptable, to alter what you like, to alter what you don't like, right? We have to love the things that Jehovah loves and hates what he hates. And according to what they teach us, he hates a lot. You know, for a God of love, they teach us that he hates a lot. I mean, up until maybe, 6 months ago, all of you gentlemen with beards, he hated you. All of you women wearing pants, slacks, he hated you. How absurd is that? It's absurd, right? Yeah. Well, here's the one thing also I want to do, is I want to take a moment to acknowledge MJ's speech, because he put something in there that 2024 Shun No More, and I want you to know that this is a movement that goes beyond 2024, okay? Don't just come here today and leave like, see you next year. No, this is something we want you to take with you, okay? The strength that you have today, take it. Standing on your own 2 feet, happy to be who you are, and you can change who you are tomorrow if you like. So we have our next guest speakers who are going to come up today. I love them because they're so much fun. They have an awesome YouTube page called Awaken True. You don't have to be a Jehovah's Witness to get involved. You have to be a human rights activist. You have to respect people's rights to choose. That's all it requires for you to get involved. So Jevin is from Dayton, Ohio. OH.
Ayo.
Ayo. He was born in and left at 27. And then Lexi, she was born in and left at 22. Jevin was the person who woke up first. And as I mentioned, they have an awesome podcast on YouTube called Awaken Truths. So let's invite them up, you guys. Give them some love.
Just so you guys know, we literally have had over 160 people watching the live stream. So I know we can look around and see this crowd, but there's plenty more of us online, okay? All right. Go ahead.
All right, what's up, y'all? How we feeling today? Good energy, okay?
Be free.
Be free. All right, so for those who don't know, I'm Jevin.
And I'm Lexi.
And some of y'all may know us from our YouTube channel, Awaken Truths. And if you don't, well, it's nice to meet y'all for the first time. And by our appearance, you might not be able to tell, but We used to be Jehovah's Witnesses. We all make bad choices in life. That was what I always try to say. But y'all remember when we were witnesses and they would tell us, you know, we were 8 million strong. The lights getting brighter and the chariots moving. They would give us these yearbooks. I wasn't reading the yearbooks, but some of us were. But in the back, remember, it would be these charts and would show Bible studies, more people getting baptized. And it seemed like we were growing, right? But then you pull up to the Kingdom Hall over the years, and they got smaller and smaller. And now we got to sell this Kingdom Hall and squeeze some more together in one, but we're growing at the same time. And then the assemblies and conventions got smaller and smaller, but somehow we're growing at the same time. Well, that's because it was something they didn't want to tell us. Approximately 70,000 people leave this organization every single year. Is there any proof in that? Well, if we look around, this is just one location on one day. We got people that left all through the years from different places. So that shows people are getting, you know, out of this organization. Now, we remember about 4 years ago, something major happened to the whole world, right? That was COVID. COVID slowed down everything. Now, one thing we didn't notice, or some people did notice, COVID slowed down this organization at the same time because we broke two very important rules. So one rule we broke, everybody slowed down all of a sudden. We couldn't go on field service. We couldn't have our Bible studies. We weren't at the meetings. We were going to the meetings at home, but we wearing pajama pants down here in the screen. You know, we got our shirt and tie on. So that caused us to slow down. The second thing that happened to mess this organization up, everybody was able to stop and think. You're not supposed to think as a Jehovah's Witness because they keep you flooded with book studies, personal studies, family studies, meetings. And so what happened, we slowed down and we go, wait a minute. And the effect of that caused a lot of people to wake up during COVID. So we woke up during COVID. Did anybody show of hands wake up COVID or after COVID? Oh yeah, show of hands. So that just shows good for us and bad for them.
Now, something that this organization has always tried to do is minimize and invalidate the voices of its ex-members. We're all gathered here today not just for purpose, but for passion. We are passionate about bringing awareness to the negative effects that this organization has, not only on its members, but also its ex-members. And how fitting it is that we're gathered during the week of National Suicide Prevention. I want to thank so many of you who have shared your vulnerable stories today, but I'm going to ask for something even more. I want to see a show of hands. Have any of you, either one, ever felt like you wanted to commit suicide, or two, know of somebody who has committed suicide due to the negative effects of this organization? Show of hands. Look around. That is not okay. That warrants further investigation, okay? Why is this happening? Now, for those who don't know, I'm a registered nurse. We learned about something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs in nursing school. Is anybody familiar with Maslow's? Okay, cool. So the people who are not, you will be by the end of our speech. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs, as you can see, it's shaped into a pyramid. Don't make fun of us, y'all. We made this last night. Okay, it's a little crooked, you know, whatever. But the whole idea behind it is to reach self-actualization, which we have heard talked about in the speech today, right? So to reach that, you have to first have your needs fulfilled in the tiers underneath. All right, so we're going to go through each tier and kind of show how the religion affects each one of these tiers, okay? And this is the way that we build ourselves. This is the way that we are able to grow as people. Okay, go past, okay?
All right, so when we go through these, of course, the organization uses a lot of these tactics, but there's one particular one that they focus on, and when y'all notice it, we're just going to do a little when we see which one they focus on, all right? So we'll start from the bottom. Our physiological needs, so that's our basics. Our food, water, shelter, clothing, sleep. This is just what we need to survive as a human. So this organization is so ruthless to say you got this 18-year-old, right, living at home with his parents, and he decide, man, this is a cult. I don't want to do this no more. Well, by the rules of this organization, they are allowed to kick him out on the street to where he can't even get his basic needs. So just think of sleep. We need sleep so bad that if we don't have somewhere to sleep, we'll sleep under a bridge, we'll sleep on the bench somewhere in the park because we need it. If we need food, we'll eat out of a trash can if we really get to that point of survival mode. Even people are to the point where if they don't have these basic needs, they will commit a crime that they don't want to do just so they can have something to eat, somewhere to stay. And this organization knows that, so they purposely put these things to strip a person of all survival.
Now the next tier is going to be safety and security. This focuses on health, your personal security, employment, resources, and family. Now family, we're going to focus that on the next tier because we all know how the families get ripped away through shunning. But I want to look at resources. Whenever a person is kicked out of this religion, they are depleted of their resources. This is done because this organization wants to be able to control you. If you have no resources, you're going to go crawling back, right? So it's done to you on purpose. And this organization infiltrates your life in such a way that whenever you leave, you feel crazy. It's like, oh, what am I doing wrong? Everything that they said is coming true. Oh, don't worry about calling off for the assembly. Jehovah will take care of you, and the new system is coming. Don't worry about going to college. The new system is coming. Don't worry about making friends outside of this organization because what? They're not friends of Jehovah. And you don't want to be destroyed when this new system comes, right? So they completely infiltrate your life in this way, and it messes with the personal security that you have in yourself. That's why so many people go crawling back to this organization. They'll know everything. They're there. They know what's going on. They know all the doctrines. They know that there's things that are wrong, but they're going to go back because they don't have their family and they don't have the right resources, okay?
Next point here, we have love and belonging. So let's just take a look at some of the things. Family, friendship, intimacy, sense of community, and connection. Does that sound familiar? All right, so we'll go, just think of your average Joe, right? You can come in sometimes. You can come in the middle. So we'll think of the average person's daily routine or weekly routine. What does the average person do? Go to work, have hobbies. Throughout the day, you might call mom, call dad, text your brother, sister, your friend. This is just what normal people do, right? Now in this organization, this is a ruthless organization. They plan 20 steps ahead. If you follow the rules as a Jehovah's Witness, what type of friends or family do you have? Jehovah's Witnesses, right? That's the only friends you can have. So if a day comes when you wake up and leave, we free to leave, right? But they do you like this. Oh yeah, go ahead, but wait a minute. We're gonna keep mom, dad, your kids. We are gonna hold on to all of this. They purposely do these things so that you don't have this community anymore. And it's this important to speak to people. You put a person in solitary confinement by themselves, you know what happens? They'll talk to themselves. We need somebody to talk to. Well, I'll talk to somebody that's not even really here after so long of being by myself because we need to talk to somebody. This organization knows that, so they really focus on that love and belonging.
And I'm going to tell you guys why this is such a big problem. They focus right here, right before you're able to reach the tiers of self-esteem and self-actualization. So self-esteem, this is confidence, this is your sense of achievement, respect of others, and your need to be a unique individual, okay? So what is confidence? Confidence is being sure of yourself, right? How do you gain assurance? You gain that through feedback, okay? We want to hear feedback. Whenever you work really, really hard on something and somebody takes notice of it, how does it make you feel? Yeah, it makes you feel good, right? It makes you feel like the work that you did is being valued. Now, this organization, how did it make you guys feel? How many of us felt like a shell of ourselves while being in this organization? I want to see a show of hands. How many? Look around. We heard earlier about, I don't know, there she is. Not being able to do her dance and, like not being able to share in those kinds of passions. It does not matter if your community consists of 2 people or 2 billion people. It doesn't matter. What matters is if you are being valued in this community. What happens whenever you're not valued in a community? You shrink yourself. And now you have all this anxiety. You have stress, you have depression, you have PTSD because you have something in you that needs to be shared with others. You have a passion that the world needs to know about, okay? Whether it be a talent, a passion, it doesn't matter, but the world needs to know about it. And that's what creates all of that stress, all of that anxiety. So do not shrink yourself for other people, okay? Instead, join a community where you're going to be valued. If you're a writer, go join a writer's group. If you love to read, join a book club, right? You have to do these things, and that all is going to attribute to your self-esteem and allow you to be your own unique individual, okay?
And last, we have self-actualization. This is one of our favorite ones here. So in here we have morality, acceptance, purpose, and meaning. So we'll focus on purpose and meaning. Any of us took a road trip before? Some of us took a road trip to get here, right? Think about what gets us through the road trip. We have the destination set, and we're able to maneuver through it. All right, we're going to Florida. It's a 10-hour drive. All right, halfway there. I just got to do what I just did again. All right, down to the last hour. This is what it's like having purpose in life. If you are going on a road trip with no destination for days, you don't have the same enthusiasm you would have versus having somewhere to go. That purpose and meaning that we need in life is, what am I here for? You know, when we were in this organization, we were given a fake destination. Oh, that new system, when? You don't have a countdown or 5 more hours. It's just keep driving. You'll get there, and it might be cool for the first hour, but after a while, you done driving. You sore, you squirming around. It's not the same. We need purpose and meaning in life, and we'll share a personal story with us. So we left in 2020. We watched JT and Lady C like a lot of us here did. They helped us wake up, and once we went into that rabbit hole of waking up, we're like, well, this is the confirmation we need that this is a cult. We out. And we start doing the things we like to do in our life and figuring out all the things that we couldn't do as witnesses. So years down the line, we come across a YouTube video, right? And I forget the girl's name, but it was called Why I Left Jehovah's Witnesses. So we made a couple random videos that had nothing to do with nothing here and there. So we go, hey, let's talk about that time we were Jehovah's Witnesses and do a video on that. So we did it, not thinking nobody would watch it, and thousands of people out of nowhere watched this video and said how much it meant to them, how it was relatable. Now, please, we appreciate anybody that watched it. Thank you so much. So people were able to flood and relate to something, and what did we find? We found purpose. So something we learned on this journey of life is whatever cards you are dealt, you just deal with it the best way you can. So right now, we're dealing with the shunning card. We all are being shunned. We can't right now force everybody to stop right now at this minute. But here with the cards dealt, what can we do? Talk about it. We grown. I'm not about to let a group of grown men tell me what I can do. They not helping with our bills. They not helping with nothing else. They don't even talk to us. These not our friends. So we are dealt these cards of being shunned. We can come together. We can talk about it. We can do whatever we want on our journey and find, our purpose. And the cards we are also dealt is we the crazy people, right? We all crazy to our friends and family. We worship Satan. Well, I've been here since, 9 o'clock? Yeah. Satan ain't showed up yet. So I think that's a lie. Ain't no Satan involved in this. So these are the cards we're dealt with being shunned, but the best we can do is to continue to stand up and speak and move forward on this journey.
To be honest, I don't have much else to add to that, but I will say shunning is extremely dangerous, especially if we don't recognize that. No, it's not normal. They have told us that this is normal. It is not normal for your whole family to never talk to you again, okay? And 2, it's being done on purpose to back you into a corner. Do not allow another person to back you into a corner. Something about social isolation that I want to add on is that not only does it cause mental illness, but it can also cause physical illness. High blood pressure, heart issues, weakened immune system, okay? So it's having an effect not only on your mental, but your physical. And I think the most important is your loss of identity. We all want to have an identity. We all want to know who it is that we're meant to be in this world while we're here, right? And so just keep that as utmost priority, is learning and repairing your relationship with self. When you repair your relationship with self, it's only normal for you to begin overflowing in other people, okay? And that's the true purpose of this life, isn't it? I think that's about all we have to say.
I'm so glad they brought a visual aid. I'm going to give you a passing score. That was your point of council number 38. I don't know, I'm just making that up. But thank you guys so much for being here. I did want to ask, how long have you been a nurse?
Since 2019.
Wow, 2019. Okay. So you said, Jevin, you woke up first. What was it that woke you up?
Well, the more I start to learn about history, the less it aligned with this organization. And it was one of those, we just pushed stuff to the back of our mind for the longest. So I would sit at the meetings and it would be certain things I would see that just didn't make sense. And it wasn't until one day a sister asked me something about the convention, followed by an apostate video. Well, sister, but she was already woke. And you know how we feel with those videos, right? It's like you want to see it, but you push away. This time I didn't push away. I clicked it. I was spooked for about 5 seconds. And once he got to talking, it was just like, this is why y'all don't want us watching this stuff. And then I just went on an apostate video spree after that.
That's crazy, that term apostate. I hate that word. And so, exactly, the definition of it is crazy. So, nurse, he woke up first. So was you guys like dating? Like, was this your boo? And you were like, what do you want to tell me? Like, how did you wake up?
Okay, so we weren't really living as Jehovah's Witnesses, like the good kind. We were already living together. And we weren't married, weren't engaged, we were just dating. And I remember my elders actually came to me and were like, you're not allowed to live with him. I'm like, I know, but we're struggling over here. So yeah, we're living together. And so he asked me a very important question that I couldn't prove him wrong. He asked me if the 144,000 scripture, if it was literal or symbolic. And I couldn't prove him wrong. And I tried through jw.org, of course, because I don't look at outside material, okay? I'm trying to be a good Jehovah's Witness, and I wasn't able to.
So you couldn't prove that they were wrong.
Him wrong.
Well, him is them, right? So many of us, have you guys researched something, it sparked your mind and you said, let me just take a peek.
Yep.
And then you took a peek and then the whole curtain was like, ah, here you go. So for everyone who's here, thank you for your courage, because it does take a lot, because we are taught to not look, not listen, so much so to where it's like if something comes up, close your laptop, right? Unplug it, unplug your computer. Like the measures that we're supposed to take were pretty extreme. So I really appreciate you guys for talking about the actual physical, medical things that happen, right? Your expertise is greatly appreciated. So I'm sure if anyone else wants to talk about that, Lexi's the one to see. And then I love how Jevin is just rocking who he is, full scope. Like, look at this drip, y'all. He would not be able to do this if he was still in. Matter of fact, that t-shirt would be tucked in with a belt, right? The locks have to be shaved off. Your hat is backwards? That is so worldly. Like, how could you wear your hat backwards? Like, you would get flack for stuff like that, you know? And of course the beards. Like, we're not even gonna go there again. And then you're wearing pants. That's now allowed. Can y'all believe it? Oh, leggings. Anything showing off any bit of your natural beauty and essence of being a woman is frowned upon. So yes, thank you guys so much. Where did Ash go? She held up the sign. Thank you, Ash, for your volunteerism. I appreciate that. So our next speaker that we're going to call up is also a human rights activist. He's going to join us today to talk about the human rights of women, of children. This is, y'all, we non-judgmental, right? We in a safe space. This is Reverend Jarvis Bestman, but he understands the right to freedom of religion. And we want to remember that not all spiritual people are bad people. So you can choose to be atheist, agnostic, Christian, Buddhist, it doesn't matter. You have the right to decide. Or maybe you just choose to be nothing, and that's okay. The problem is when you push those beliefs or any beliefs on someone else, judge them and condemn them for not thinking or believing the way that you have. So let's give him our attention. He comes with a lot of accolades as well, and he's going to definitely share some insight with us. He came all the way down from New Jersey, so let's give him a round of applause and our full attention. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much. I'm so delighted to be here today. I want to thank first Janet for introducing me to her, and just 2 days ago, and matter of fact, I had some engagement. I have to say, well, and this is my assignment. as a pastor, I believe, well, not just a pastor, but as an advocate, I believe that even if I was somewhere in the hole, somewhere that I was engaged to do something and I really pushed to my passion, I'm going to definitely come. And so I drove from all the way from New Jersey, make sure that last night I was here, and I'm here. And I want for somebody to tell another person, be the voice. Tell somebody, be the voice. Be the voice. Be the voice for the voiceless. Be the voice for the voiceless. Now, if you look at the Declaration of Human Rights, the first chapter, which is chapter 1, it says everyone was born equal. If you look at the tolerant part of what we're talking here today, in that chapter also we go to chapter 18 and talk about religious tolerance. We go to 19 to talk about free speech. We go to 20, it also talk about gathering free. So when you understand that you were born equal, and then you also understand the religious tolerance. So every testimony here tonight, I mean this morning or this afternoon, is so exciting. And if you go back and see Jesus, go back and see in Luke chapter 5 verse 17 and see what happened with the guys who their friends took their friends sick, could not get over to Jesus. And the Bible says that it took him on the rooftop. They were the voice. They were the voice. And when we say be the voice, I listened to her testimony. And when we talk about religious tolerance, we see that many of us as pastors and leaders, religious, we become religious and not actually Christian, or not, I call myself not just a Christian, but a kingdom citizen. Because you see, it is when Paul and all the other believers spread the good news in Acts chapter 11, and you see that what happens, it was because the unbelievers saw them doing what Jesus did, and they said they are Christians. So Christian, that word comes from unbelievers. So again, people are just acting religious and not actually as Christian, or probably as a kingdom citizen. It's so exciting when I heard the number of 18,000. Talk about children, you talk about the future generation. Today when we talk about human rights, it's an entitlement. The definition of human right, it's an entitlement for every individual, and that right must be protected by laws, guaranteed by the state. How many of us actually have realized that if we go back to call some of the Jehovah Witnesses that are gone today, if they come back to life to tell us what actually caused them to commit suicide? As we look back here, be free to protest, because human right is an entitlement to every individual, and that right must be protected by law, guaranteed by the state. We also have responsibility when we gather peacefully. So our coming here today is to give you a foundation. Your right is entitled to you. Thank you. And those of us who left the Jehovah Witness, ask yourself, what happened to the others who went to the great beyond? Probably they didn't understand what was going on. They were not having a chance. But if you call them back here, like I said, Jenny, some of them will be telling you, well, it was because I was so intimidated. Probably I was stigmatized. I didn't have the time to express myself, and I didn't understand where the Jehovah Witnesses were leading me to. So I have to commit suicide. We're talking about 100,000 every year in 2022 committed suicide in the United States. If you look at the number, it's alarming. And the question is staying to us, to raise awareness, to be the voice for the voiceless. If you look at these different articles, go back to the CEDA, go back to they call it. Don't go back to all these protocols that were signed for women to protect your rights. And one of the things that as an advocate, as a consultant, I believe we promote women wear so highly. Why? Because they are like the keepers of the womb. They take care of the children. They help them to grow. So as we come here today, look back. I told one of the Jehovah's Witnesses 10 years ago when I was much younger. And they came to my house. I can remember in Africa. And I look at the guy, I just asked you one question. There were two. And they caused confusion among them because they could not answer the question. And it's so siding and to the international community all over the world. I came from the the Community Engagement Global Mission. I'm the president for this institution. I have the passion. But I want for us to stand as we ask ourselves this question. Who am I? Where did I come from? What am I here? What can I do? And where am I going? I'm very sure that some of us ask yourself that question when you start saying some things that were not right. Go back to the scripture in the book. The Bible talk about human rights so much. In Psalm 82, it says, open your mouth for the destitute. So the gathering here today is not against anyone. It's against the thing that people do to cover up. And I was so grieving when I heard some of the things here. Thank you for bringing this up for the Jehovah's Witnesses, because there are a lot of people going to their early grave only because they believe in this doctrine. It is religious. It is not Christianity. It means that we need to create more awareness. We need to have time. Can you imagine people that are separated from their families? And Christianity is relationship. That is the quick definition. Christ was always relating to people. Go back in the book of Luke, chapter 4, verse 18. See what happened. He said, the Spirit of the Lord come upon me to go down those who are blind, those who are brokenhearted, to bring the good news to them. So we are here not only as a consultant. I've been in the ministry for 20 years. I tasted all over the place. And not only the Jehovah's Witnesses, right there in the Pentecostal, right there in the charismatic churches. Women were abused. One of our great singers, brilliant singer in Africa, just lost her life last year. Why? Because the husband beat her home. Powerful woman of God. She would every time she would call God, pray for this man to change. One day he would change. And now she's no more. Be the voice for the voiceless in our society. And the message today, I want you to understand your right is protected. It's an entitlement. And that's why we like the United States of America. And that's why we're here right before the White House. When you go back in Africa and see some of the things that people go through, disability rights have been denied. Some of these people that go to those churches, they are disabled. They don't even know their way out. And then we put them under the pretense that one day God is coming back, so let's just do the work. No blood, no, if you say don't go and take treatment, just come, don't go to school, don't educate yourself. But a question for us under the sound of my voice today, ask yourself again, who am I? Where did I come from? Why am I here? What can I do? And where am I going? Where are you going if you are in an institution that you don't know the whereabouts, you don't know the pointer where the arrow is going, you don't know your destination, you're just going. Every day you come and they tell you something and you're just not opening the scripture to understand that you have a right. Go back in the Declaration of Human Rights, chapter 18, read it carefully. It tells you that religious tolerance. Religious tolerance is simple. You choose your thoughts, what you want to do. Now, you have responsibility to make good choices. Because when you choose, the consequences, the choices less than the consequences. So that is what happened to our society. Because we make choices, and then the consequences come upon our children. Today, I join you in our advocacy, and all of us, I want to caution you, I want to challenge you. Be the voice. Don't be intimidated. I agree that we all have some ills in our society. We have different reasons for which some of us travel to the state. I have my testimony. I've been probably looking up to that woman while I was abused for many years. Sometimes women abuse their spouse. But you have right to speak out or either leave the relationship. You don't have to take this person's life. You don't have to take your own life. And I was on social media, I was telling people, I said, look, if one person deny you the right, you just tell them, well, thank God, let's cut this relationship off. And let me go, and you go your way. You don't have to commit suicide. It's society, the numbers is increasing. Children, they didn't agree with their parents. They didn't even know. But the parent put them into something that they never choose. When they got older, they realized that they were not supposed to be in that position. Now, they got stigmatized. Go back and ask the question, make your own research. Like I said, if they will come back to life's journey, all of us here, some of them will be telling you, my mother, caused me to do this. I was stigmatized everywhere I went. People don't accept me. So I have to commit suicide. As a strategist and a human rights consultant, with all the research we are doing, you can go back and check. Let them come back to life. Ask God to give them a little time to come back to give their testimony. They will tell you, even those who took their own life by gun or some harmful thing, they will tell you, well, my wife treated me this way, and I didn't have no option. My husband did this to me. But you know why? We have rights. And our right is protected by law, and it should be guaranteed by the state. We are here today because we have been guaranteed by the United States of America. How many times you go to Africa or other places, they don't want us to speak. But that is our entitlement, and that is our right. And I want to caution you, those of us who are on this movement, peace. You have rights, but you have responsibility. And I'll tell people, and I say, you know why? At the Community Engagement Global Mission, we believe that you have rights, but you're also responsible for the choice you make. Remember the choice you make, you have the right. Remember that the other person that you are going to also have their right. So both persons, they say human rights is defined simple. It's very simple. It's an entitlement to every individual. There is no discrimination. So that right must be protected by law, guaranteed by the state. That's why we are here today. And I want to caution you, and I want to thank you for this great work. Thank you. And I say to you, join us. Jenny and I, actually, we have the movement, and we are going to be actually having this consultancy classes, and we want you to be part of that. We want you to know more about some of the things, and also share with others. It's a big movement. If everybody get to know, then of course, in our community, we'll be able to sound our voices for our neighbors. Some of our neighbors are going through something, and we're not able to speak because, well, we don't know that we have the right to speak for them. So I want to thank you for gathering, and I'll always be with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. I had someone say that they really like your accent. Where are you originally from?
Well, I'm from Liberia, West Africa. Well, the country that the slave were taken, okay, and we are like a stepdaughter of America, we always say, okay, but again, I'm a Liberian, an African, and a human being. I'm a kingdom citizen. I'm not just, and I want you to carry that word today. Anybody asks you, yeah, you are Christian, but you are kingdom citizen. Don't just say Christian, because you see, Christians, that word Christian, like I said, go back in the Bible, check in Acts chapter 11. You will see something, then you say, oh, I see. It was their own believers that called Paul and the other believers, they called them Christians, only because they saw them doing good. They saw them doing what Jesus was doing. So not everybody that go to church, run into church every day, they are Christians. All they are. The people that really, that we call them believers, yes, in Christ. And citizen, how many of us want to be citizens of America? All of us here, right? So if you are kingdom citizen, that means you believe in everyone. No one you should discriminate. Be able to accept everybody, work with them, and make a change in our world. Thank you.
All right. That's it. I appreciate you. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. We have had a beautiful lineup today. And we actually have more good stuff coming. All right. So what I want you to do is give a round of applause for our next speaker. He is an Army veteran. He was raised as one of Jehovah's Witnesses and is a survivor of child sex abuse. He devoted his life to serving and helping people. He is a decorated 9/11 first responder and a member of the Presidential Salute Battery, which is a part of the Honor Guard here in Washington, D.C. So join me in welcoming Will up to the stage as a special speaker. And he is going to share his experience and knowledge with us today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right.
See if I get this at the right point in front of my mouth here. You good? Can everyone hear good phone?
Yeah.
All right. It's definitely an honor to be back here in front of the White House, and I want to thank all of you that are here, both in person and in spirit, for helping to make this happen. It's obviously quite a somber topic that we're talking about. It is a great thing to see that we're not alone. That's one of the things that I think we all need to get across, is that we're not alone in this fight. Last year when I was up here, I spoke a little bit about my story more so, and didn't really speak much about my better half. This year I'm going to focus a bit on her story, because her story about shunning is it's potent, and it's very fitting for right now. Now, she wasn't ever too keen on public speaking as a Jehovah's Witness, so she's let me have the honor to share some of her story. Anyway, so here we go. Now, but given how many conflicts that exist globally today, it's understandable that the private battles taking place daily within countless communities across the world go unnoticed. High control groups, such as the Jehovah's Witnesses, do not dominate the headlines, unlike wars caused by more famous extremist groups and dictators. However, these organizations are operating in plain sight, and leaders are rarely prosecuted or take responsibility for their crimes or misdeeds. Now, for the second year in a row, Victoria is here all the way from England. She's here to fight for human rights of those who have suffered in silence. The goal is to educate the public and those in power about the abusive nature of high control groups and the cost to society as a whole. Now, Victoria's journey began when she was born into the Jehovah's Witnesses. From a young age, she witnessed and was a victim of various forms of abuse at home and in her church community. As a child, there were no options available to get away from or expose the control of her behavior, thoughts, emotions, and her access to information. This theft of individual liberty is at the very core of the Jehovah's Witnesses agenda. Due to the fact that Victoria had been baptized as a Jehovah's Witness at the age of 13, meant that there was no way to leave the religion without losing her entire social support network, to include her family. I ask you to think about that for a moment. A 13-year-old girl, a child, got baptized because that is what is expected of a Jehovah's Witness child. The Jehovah's Witnesses treat this as a legally binding contract for life. There is no way to leave the Jehovah's Witnesses without losing everything once you have been baptized as one, regardless of the age of said baptism. Now, by the age of 19, years of trauma were taking their toll, and Victoria took the brave decision to no longer be a part of the Jehovah's Witnesses. A heavy price was paid for following her conscience and doing the right thing. Her belongings were put into bin liners. By her parents, she was kicked out of her childhood home. She was told that her family would not be there for her unless she returned to the Jehovah's Witnesses. Victoria was thrown to the wolves and treated as already dead. Now, Victoria's experience is a bad enough indictment as a standalone case about a high control group. But we're all here together because it's not a standalone case. This is a norm that we have all witnessed and all been traumatized by. Oh. Given that it's so common worldwide, you just throw in my case. So you take a look at me for a second, and look at what shaped my life, the course that my life took. It is large part due to the Jehovah's Witnesses and the abuses I suffered. I was, like Ivy said, I was retired from the U.S. Army, 9/11 first responder, combat veteran, and I also worked in the special operations community for a few years. And I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, having undergone some fairly extreme CSA. Now, what the witnesses didn't provide for me, I had to provide for myself, which is safety. And that's why we're all here, to help protect the safety of children like me and Victoria and all of us out standing here as well. Now, Victoria and my story, it goes back, well, we met as teenagers. Our families were selected to go to an International Jehovah's Witness convention in 1993. Now, once Vicky and I, story is about knowing that you are not alone and of love overcoming all. Vicky and I wrote a poem together a few months ago, and we're going to share it with you. She's agreed to read the poem for us, so come on up here. Hey, come on.
It's been a very, very long time. Shunning. What a loving arrangement from Jehovah. It chokes and squeezes and crushes and pummels until 100 times. It feels like we've been run over. Through all the traumas, the cancer and the rape, all we ever wanted was a scrap of your love. What is it going to take? Thank you for showing us the conditions of your love. We see the irony of it all, and hand in hand we rise above. You expect us to sugarcoat or whitewash the graves of the past. For a truth teller, that is an impossible task. You know what you're doing with your divisive drivel? You know what it does to deny a soul the most important things which are right down the road, yet intangible. Shunning is not an act of love, but the absence of all natural affection. You say that you don't believe in hell, but purgatory, you fill up with no discretion. Your shunning and hate and evil spread like a virus or disease. You create deep scars and upturn lives with extreme ease. You say to be like the Samaritan and save your fellow man, but wait, we were left for dead once, and then over again. A couple lies down, thank God I have spare. After the life that I have lived, there is more trauma than I wish to share. I know what it is to be broken and shattered and down on in a gutter. Sometimes the darkness creeps in, and you wish this life would stop feeling like a stutter. You left me for dead as I awaited my fate in a hospital gown. Why do you push and try to help me drown? One of the tenets of your religion is the hope to see and live with love's long lost. I am confused and at a loss, as your child is right in front of you, but you're unable to count the costs. The cruelty of COVID caused moral uproar as family and loved ones were doomed to die alone in the cold. For decade upon decade, this is just business as normal for Jehovah's Witnesses, both young and old. Die quietly, they tell us, as they shame and scold. Just come back to Jehovah, you can come in from the cold. You can go sod off. That's the response I choose to say. I will not sell my soul now or on any day. Not a chance, I say to your narcissistic, conditional love. I'm done being trauma bonded. I rise above. Isaiah warns of you with words so simple and true. You swap evil for good, darkness for light, and bitter for sweet too. You are a walking, talking, moral injury, both for your organisation and anyone in society. You cause catastrophic damage and mayhem, just like an IED that explodes at the knee. To be shunned is to be a ghost and live incorporeal like a shadow. It is our life well lived that will haunt loved ones that so easily let us go. Shunning. What a loving arrangement from Jehovah, they say. In reality, shunning is a hateful punishment that is intended to torture every day.
Yeah, that helps explain a few things about what we're fighting against, I suppose. Whilst the cost to the lives of victims of such abuse is immeasurable, we can see the financial impact. According to a study earlier this year, it is estimated that the cost to the U.S. economy of mental illness is $282 billion per year. This is an alarming statistic that should pique the interest of the public and lawmakers alike. Victims of high control groups will undoubtedly contribute to that figure. We should all be looking for ways to mitigate this cost to society. Tax-free organizations that contribute to this epidemic should also start to share the cost of mental ill health. Recently in Norway and the Netherlands, the Jehovah's Witnesses have lost their state funding for violating human rights. Let's hope, yes, exactly, that's something to cheer for right there, right?
We're working on it in Lithuania too.
Yeah, we got more countries coming down the pipeline for sure with that, and we're going to make that impact, all of us together. Oh, the reason this protest is happening during this week and this month is suicide prevention. Now, shunning leads to suicide for some. Wait for the truck to go up. So shunning does lead to suicide for some. Can't really state it more concisely than that. We, as a society, should not be allowing this to happen. We cannot leave out that our freedom of religion has been and is still being violated. The Watchtower openly admits that no one should have to choose between their family and their religion. It could not be more ironic that they printed that sentence, as that is what is required of all Jehovah's Witnesses. There is no freedom of religion if said religion holds all your friends and family hostage for not holding to their beliefs. I suggest that it is time for the government to hold 501c3s accountable for their actions, those openly contributing to our mental health crisis and violating one of the sacred tenets of our society that this nation was built upon. Well, they should be held to account. We should not allow such organizations to remain tax-free as they continue to create more burden and hardship for the taxpayers of this nation. Now, you might have heard me mention a minute ago talking about Victoria and I, the concept of post-traumatic growth, PTG. Now, everyone's heard of PTSD, right? Everyone knows this. We're all familiar with it. We've all been through trauma. And the concept of post-traumatic growth, it kind of be a simple way to say it would probably be what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and you can learn from those lessons and grow from the hardship. I think it was Thucydides, an ancient Greek Stoic, that said, we must remember that one man is much the same as the next, and he that is trained in the severest school, and he is best that is trained in the severest school. Sorry, I messed up the quote a little. But the whole point of that is, if you've gone through a lot, you've gone through trauma, think of the ancient stories we have of the Stoics and the greats. it was always this epic journey. There was always hardship and trauma. It was always trauma-based, and then come back to show your community how to grow from that. On that note, I brought a number of copies of this book, Struggle Well. I would like everyone that can, I got about 40 or so with me. I'd like everyone to leave with a copy that wants one. Now, it does have a picture of a soldier on the front. It says, Struggle Well, Thriving in the Aftermath of Trauma. But don't be fooled, this isn't just for soldiers. It was actually my active Jehovah's Witness sister that first pointed this book out to me and was a huge part in my healing in a weird turn of events, right? So this book is just about thriving and healing from trauma. Again, post-traumatic growth. So I would really love for everyone that can, I got them in a cart right over there. Anyone that wants one or thinks someone might want one, this helps with suicide prevention. It helps just build you a network, give you the information and education that we didn't get as Jehovah's Witnesses. So this book changed my life, and that's why I brought some copies. Just want to give them out. So.
Thank you, Will, especially for your generosity and consideration. We were all just talking about creating a little book club, so I'm sure we all have a list of things that we use and read to be able to help us get through. So I kind of wanted to ask you more about this this battery, like the guard that you're in. I've never heard about that. Like, what is that?
I'm retired now. This was back during 9/11. The Presidential Salute Battery, we fire cannons and do like typical military missions around DC for security as well. But we, anytime you see the president coming out for, like, let's say, playing a wreath at Arlington National Cemetery, and we fire the 21-gun salute using a mix of 3-inch anti-tank guns on a howitzer chassis from World War II, owned by the Smithsonian. That part doesn't matter, but so we're the ceremonial and security forces basically for the DC area, and that was. 4th of July, I don't know if you've seen the big 4th of July, the fireworks and all that, and the cannons that fire on the mall, that was us doing that as well. So it's a lot of ceremonial mixed with obviously some security as well.
Well, we thank you for doing what you did. And that was a voluntary position, obviously. You didn't have to go into the forces. And now that you're retired, I'm sure they're not shunning you. Right? They're not shunning you. Well, we thank you again. We appreciate that. You guys be sure to grab a book, whether it's for yourself or someone else. We also have one more speaker, just in the interest of time. His name is Pablo. We want to invite him up. He was born in and raised in New Mexico City, but lives in Minneapolis now for over 25 years. And like others here, he was also a window washer in his previous life. He's also a part of the StopMandatedShunning.org movement, which Liberated Consciousness is proud to be a partner with as well. So let's give Pablo our attention.
Try to be very brief. So we are all here in representation of many families that are being deeply harmed by shunning. I am also here to speak about an important initiative called Stop Mandated Shunning. And why do I say mandated shunning? As most of you know, shunning among Jehovah's Witnesses and other high control groups is not optional. If you do not comply, you will suffer criticism, loss of social status, and privileges. And you often will be shunned yourself. This is an abuse of free will. This is not a personal choice, but a requirement, a mandate. But how do we prove that this type of group bullying is mandatory? And how do we prove it is a hate crime that causes damage to millions of people and can even lead to death by suicide? For this, we need good data. We need qualitative and quantitative data that is gathered and evaluated by professional academics. We also need attorneys and lawmakers who ensure there are laws to protect basic human rights and protect people from coercion. Recent legal victories against mandated shining have been won in Norway and in Spain. But data, research, and laws have not been available to help us here in the United States. To stop mandated shining, the Stop Mandated Shining project will change that. They have legal initiatives, data gathering initiatives, and a huge comprehensive research project based out of Roehampton University in the UK. These efforts will benefit all of us. So I invite you to support this initiative by taking the 10-question survey and by sharing your personal shining story. Please do so at stopmandatedshining.org. Stopmandatedshining.org. Some information is available in Spanish also. In conclusion of this talk, I want to say that good things take time. Change takes time. But if we persevere, if we are adaptable, and if we cooperate and coordinate with others, change will happen. May it won't happen as quickly as we wish. Maybe our efforts will help future generations. And people we don't even know will be helped. But change will happen. And we can be part of it now.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Pablo. So as we know, data rules the world. If you have the numbers, if you have the data, then that's when you can show that there's a need for something. So if you're here today or you know others who want to tell their story, if they're not hiding or happen to live under those shadows, please make sure you contact Pablo. Please go to the website stopmandatedshunning.org and be able to tell your story. There is a beautiful research project that's going on, and they're targeting educators, attorneys, mental health professionals, and those like us who aren't afraid to tell our stories, right? Because we talked earlier about the need for change, legislative change, all right? We want the things that are happening overseas in Australia and Lithuania and Norway. We want those things to happen here in the United States, okay? So before we adjourn, I'm going to read another story for her name is Melissa. She could not be here with us today. She was here last year, was a beautiful speaker, and I just want to be able to honor her and tell her story. All right. And she has a sense of humor too, so I love that. So her name is Melissa, and she wished that she could be here with us today in DC, but she had a really bad car accident, and she has to lay low with the injuries that she has so she can get paid. She said this is a joke, and whoever is reading this, which is me, I need to stress that it's a joke, so haha. But seriously, her injuries are preventing her from being here, and we want to wish her well and send her a lot of good vibes. She was so fortunate to share her story with Justin on his channel, XJW Diaries, back in January. Her history with this cult has been life-altering. Way back before the 1999s and 2000s, she realized as a Jehovah's Witness. At the time, if you were recognized as a publisher, you were still subjected to the cruel policy of shunning, even if you were not baptized. Before she was baptized on 2 occasions, she was labeled an unapproved associate. The first time, she was only 12 years old. The second time, she was 16. So we stress again that these things happen to minors. They do not care if you are a child. They will subjugate you to this social isolation. This time, when she was 16, she attempted to take her life. She turned 18 years old and was finally baptized. At 19 years old, she became pregnant, and the paralyzing feeling of being shunned again caused her to take the life of her unborn child, or as Stephen Lett would categorize her baby, as a little enemy of God. Sadly, she wasn't disfellowshipped for having an abortion, she was disfellowshipped for fornication. The profound pain of existing in such fear of being shunned that it causes you to almost take your life and actually take the life from your womb. She has not yet mastered the English language to describe in less offensive words. This policy and practice of this cult is literally a death sentence. It has been proven time and time again that social isolation has long-lasting damaging effects. This practice is hard enough for an adult to receive, but this cult has no problems pushing children into a lifetime contract where they're constantly change the terms and conditions and expect compliance or you lose. Unfortunately, the First Amendment protects cults, but this billion-dollar cult / publishing company turned real estate developer that breaks up families, destroy lives, and exploit its members for free labor and doesn't provide any significant monies in charity to assist its members, let alone the community, should not enjoy a tax-free status. This is where we in the XJW community can be most effective. Find your state representatives in Congress, contact them on a consistent basis. If an organization holds a 501c3 and has assets in the billions of dollars, they should be required to show tangible evidence they are helping their communities with financial aid and food assistance. The law must be written with such precision that the Line 9, or the governing body, or the board members of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, just in case, because they have a lot of names, can't find a loophole to exploit. This cult started as a struggling publishing company, morphed into a cult that needs to be recognized as a business and taxed accordingly. Finally, she does want to give some shout outs and appreciation to all of the incredible XJW content creators, such as Justin, who was our MC last year, XJW Diaries, this is YouTube page, XJW Critical Thinkers, which they were here today with us. I'm looking around to see if they're still here. And her little cute boo, he doesn't know it, but Jerron. She was going to give him a kiss on the cheek, and she knows what he's talking about. So that's an inside joke right there. And the XJW cute couple, which we heard from today, Lexi and Jevin, of Awakened Truths. JW Thoughts, which is Wally and her girl Just June. Alt-worldly Jake, Vern and his wife in Canada. The cute elderly couple that's doing great work. XJW MJ, she thanks me. And last but not certainly least, a big shout out to Cassandra, The Truth, and T'Challa. Love you guys. So she's sending us her love and appreciation as she heals and recovers in her journey. And thank you all for being here today. We're getting ready to close out, and I thought I would just share a poem with you guys to kind of express some of the things that I've been working through. Conflicted. My mind pivots between writing my mother or writing my daughter. Both mother and daughter, we all have become one. I am one of one. One time, my mother and my daughter were once my galaxy, with beaming starry eyes and smiles to infinite light years. But as I ponder, I can't decide which is more smarting, being abandoned by my mother or being accused of abandoning my daughter. So now I'm left to wonder, what was the conditional love? Why does me showing my love to them come with conditions? How am I left to face the scars that have been left behind? And why have I been put back on a shelf in a section that you just so happen to browse through? And that is why we're here today, to stop shunning, to stop the pain, to stop the feelings of worthlessness, to stand together, united, to say, what are we saying today? Shun no more. Shun no more.
Shun no more!
Shun no more.
Shun no more!
And we can say that with pride, right? With smiles on our faces. So our minds need autonomy. Our hearts need love without conditions. And our souls need a place to be still and peace. And in the words of Henry Ford, coming together is the beginning. Keeping together is progress. And working together is success. So I would like to invite our guest speaker back up, Jeanette. We want to thank her for coming. We want to also emphasize that if you want to get involved and become an advocate in human rights, that our organizations are here to support you, to help you earn that certification and be able to take this movement with you back to your respective states, back to your respective countries, so that way you can be supportive of others and actually know your rights and the rights of another.
So thank you all again. I just want to reiterate everything that has been said here today. The important thing is what's next? What are we all going to do when we leave here today? I challenge you and I invite you to be the voice for the voiceless, to be the voices in your communities. We stand here in front of the White House. This is the people's house in the nation's capital. And as the founder and CEO of Miel y Canela Foundation and her, Ivy, with the Be Free protest and my brother, Jarvis, we invite you, get certified. You know why? Because you will be that voice in your communities. We'll come out to wherever you are. If you're in another country, in a city, wherever you're in a state, we'll come to you. But be that voice, be that force, make the change. Wherever you're at, you could be that change. It starts with one. In my community, it started with me. Just take that step. Just take that step, because you know what we're going to do? We're going to continue unifying the human race. There's only one human, and this is the human race. We are all equal. We are all equal. So I challenge you to take that step, to get that knowledge, to spread the word, and to be the saviors, to change the lives in your communities. Especially, you'll have the tools, you'll be equipped to go into those communities in need, and get them out and make them advocates as well. Okay, this is a chain reaction. This is a ripple effect, so that we can bring real change, because we need it. We need it for each other, for ourselves, and for our communities. Miel y Canela Foundation, the International Institute for Human Rights, the protest will come to you. But do it. Thank you so much for being here today.
And last but not least, we want to thank the founder of this movement. Without the founder, we would not be here. We would not have this opportunity to come together, to get to know each other, to look each other in the eyes and say, I am here for you, I understand you, I feel you. So everyone, thank you so much. And especially for those who came out and showed courage instead of fear, who are no longer living in the shadows, who are insisting to be seen and to be heard. So if you are a speaker today, and if you're someone who is okay with taking a picture, I want to invite all of you up here right now in this moment and join us for a photo that says, Shun no more!
Shun no more!
All right, come get y'all's picture. I love it. We got people here from Canada, from the UK, from Washington State, Virginia, Jersey, New York, Florida, Georgia, VA. Where else? Where else we got people from? North Carolina. Where are you from, man?